Hello, friends. Welcome to Hope to the Hopeless series. The topic for this week is do not jump to wrong conclusions. So many a times we are very quick to have, make a wrong conclusion, and then based on that we take our life forward. And there are many uh, very bad consequences because we don't take the right decision. We take a wrong decision, wrong conclusion. So they say that don't judge a book by its cover. That is what everyone knows that. So I just wanted to share one short story before I proceed with this message. So there was once a man who was traveling by train, and he was having his two kids, children. And when he was traveling by the train, these kids started playing, and it was so loudly. They shouted, they laughed, they were running around, and it was the co-passengers thought that it was a nuisance. So they were thinking that why these two children are making such a lot of noise and playing around. And this father was sitting calmly. He was just calm and composed, and he did not admonish his children. He did not discipline them. He was just sitting there quietly, and he was in deep thought. So these co-passengers became restless, and after a point of time, they said, "Now it is enough. So let us at least ask him to take care of his children." So they questioned him while his children are playing around and making so much noise. Why is he not telling anything to them? And that's when he said that it is just that I came to know that my wife has passed away, and I don't want to share this to my children, because if I share this message to them, they will feel sad and they will cry. And I don't want to spoil their time where they were having fun. So after listening to this, the co-passengers also started crying. There were tears in their eyes. And they felt that they didn't know the truth. Before knowing the truth, they took a wrong conclusion. They had a wrong conclusion in their mind. Many a times we do this in our life. So I want to share a few examples from the Bible about wrong conclusions. The first one is Moses. Moses had jumped to a wrong conclusion about the three tribes of the Israelites, of Israel. That is Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh. They settled in. They wanted to settle in the east of Jordan River, and so Moses thought that they would not participate in the war against the enemies. So he had a wrong conclusion. So he jumped to a wrong conclusion. In fact, they just wanted to keep that land for themselves, and they also wanted to go and fight. So that is the first instance where Moses had jumped to a wrong conclusion. And the next instance is again these three tribes in the time of Joshua. So when these three tribes, they didn't want to, they built an altar. They built an altar, and what the Israelites thought is that they thought that they had built this altar as a mark of rebellion against God. But what happened in this instance is Phinehas went with a team, to research, to find out what happened actually, to learn the truth and find out why they did this. And then they realized that their motive was not wrong. They did the correct thing. So it was almost about a war going to happen. They were almost trying to fight against each other, but he averted that war because they had a kind of a diplomatic talk. They understood. They tried to understand why they did this. Because they tried to do that, they knew the truth. Many times we see things, then we decide in our mind, and we have a wrong conclusion. We jump to wrong conclusion. That is what happens. So they say that whatever we see, whatever we hear, even that could be, a false thing. So we need to be very careful. We need to give a careful thought. And the third instance is about Job's friend. So they all, three friends, they all concluded that, had a wrong conclusion of Job's suffering. They gave their own opinions, but that was not the truth. And the fourth thing is with Jesus himself. The people surrounded by Jesus, many people did not recognize him as a Messiah. Some people were hostile, some people justified, saying that no, he's not the Messiah, he's just another prophet. So like that, many people had their own opinion, but they all were wrong. They jumped to wrong conclusions. The truth was, he was God, he is God. So these are just few examples what I wanted to share. But in our real life, my dear friends, I have seen so many people, just because of taking a wrong conclusion, they conclude some certain things wrong, or certain people wrong, especially when dealing with people. So here is, I have seen broken families. The consequences of jumping to a wrong conclusion is that broken families are broken because there is no proper communication between spouses. Relationship broken because of, again, wrong communication between neighbors, between colleagues in workplace. I have experienced it in workplace. It happens very often. You form groups and then somebody else tells something which is not the truth. But if you had gone directly and spoken to the other person, you could have solved the issue. But people don't do that. They just have ego. They have all kinds of problem that they believe somebody else, which is not the truth. And also it could be a broken friendship. So it could break families, it could break relationship, it could break trust. So there are a lot of things because we don't communicate with each other. Sometimes you just take a wrong jump to wrong conclusion. And not only with people, but even with instances. For example, I want to share my own testimony. I had a severe chest pain a couple of weeks back, and it was in the left side. And so when it is in the left side, the first thing comes to our mind is that maybe it is a heart attack. That is what people think. And we were so anxious, especially my wife. So there was a lot of thoughts going in. We took the test, and finally nothing was major. So it was some other issue. So many a times we jump to wrong conclusions. Before, if you have positive attitude, all you have to do is have positive attitude, speak to God, speak to the person, speak to God, pray, give a careful thought. By doing this, what you can do is you can avert major issues, problems, because we have to be very delicate when dealing with people. So many a times people miss this, and that is why they jump to wrong conclusions and then disaster, because it leads to disaster. It leads to very bad consequences, like what I said. So my dear friends, give a thought to it. And I want to share one verse. There are a lot of verses about this, but I just want to share one verse, which is John 7:24. It says that do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment. That is what it says. Thank you for listening to this message. Have a wonderful, blessed week in the presence of God.